struggle. So that's the only way we can overcome our struggle. Brother, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right.
Zimbabwe. Greetings. Greetings, good people. What's up, what's happening? Now, Zimbabwe Vice President Constantino Chiwenga is the most popular person in Zimbabwe right about now, even eclipsing the president himself. We are talking about eclipsing President Mnangagwa's popularity. We're seeing sentiments coming in. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what is happening? More and stories are coming in. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as we are seeing, the $7 billion heist is exposed as Zvigananda are now shaking. Ladies and gentlemen, now the 2030 scheme. Die, says the crowd to the 2030 scheme. Scheme of a president chasing a dream of more power, while Chiwenga speaks of the rota that the nation now reeks with the stench of the bribes police take from the weary for tyrant's sake of the party. ZANU-PF's grip that makes Chiwenga's star eclipse Mnangagwa, whose luster is spent like the thrust that corruption has rent is the heart of a people betrayed by the force that should keep them unswayed. They call for the general to rise as their voice under the Harare skies that have witnessed war vets. New song for Chiwenga to right what is wrong. Wrong is the system where crops shake you down. Down goes the hope in each village and town and bush echo with one fervent plea for a leader to set the land free from the shackles of greed. Toll that is buried the nation now. Soul of Zimbabwe now lifts up his name. Ladies and gentlemen, name of Chiwenga. Their hope and their flame. Though he can, or can he truly restore restore what was lost through corruption. Grim law of the past, warns of heroes turned nerves who once cheered now dig freedom graves may yet wait in his heart, if his heart proves untrue to the mass who pray. He comes through all the clamor. His shadow looms tall as they will to see tyranny fall. Mnangagwa, the people decree that Chiwenga is their chance to be free, yet the rhythm of history's rhyme warns, will he save or just bide his time? Ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing a throne of chaos in the nation of Zimbabwe. Now in this video, I'm gonna be giving you, ladies and gentlemen, 20 Vice President Chiwenga's trending stories and speculation. What is happening? Yes, we'll be giving reference here and there a bit, and we're seeing Christopher Mnangagwa again taking a dig at VP Chiwenga. And this time, what does Christopher Mnangagwa say? We're gonna be going there, fellow Zimbabweans. Big up to everybody watching us live right about now. To those watching us live, big up 2K Junior, Isaac Roper, Mugove, Chifurise. Everybody who's watching us live, to those watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat. That's how I can see your names, so I can give you my shout outs. Big up everybody in Zimbabwe, outer Zimbabwe, wherever you're watching us from. Big up.
Possibility of escalating turmoil, political turmoil. There is a risk of further collapse of the economy, and once the economy has collapsed, once there is discohesion within the ruling party, anything is possible. Yeah. But what I'm really sure about is that the president of the country and the president of ZANU-PF, President Mnangagwa, is pushing for a third term, an unconstitutional third term. Thus, the source of all the disevils and the confusion that is happening in the cockpit, so to speak.
There are reports that the tension is between Mnangagwa and his deputy, who is a general, Constantino Chiwenga. How powerful is the general? And presumably he has...
Even in South Africa, ladies and gentlemen, all eyes are on the general. Hey, now this is another level of popularity. We are seeing Chiwenga there, ladies and gentlemen. Even in other nations, we're seeing papers are writing about the general. A lot of people are rooting for General Constantino Chiwenga. Will he pull it through?
Parts of the military behind him, so that would be the threat.
I don't think that the conflict is between just Emmerson Mnangagwa and General Chiwenga. No. The conflict is between President Mnangagwa and the general polity in Zimbabwe, those that don't believe in the mutilation of our constitution, because the president has embarked on a well-calculated mission to mutilate the constitution, to remove term limits, unconstitutionally doing so, and even mooting moves to avoid going for a referendum, because our constitution, especially the provisions on the term limits, if you want to change those ones, you look at section 95 of the constitution, which gives us the term limits. It says that a president can only serve for a term, and a term is for 2 terms, and a term is defined as 5 years under section 95 subsection 2b of the constitution. And if you want to change that, if you want to extend it from 5 years to 7 years as he is purporting, then it means he has to change that particular constitutional provision.
That is none other than Jealous Mawarire. There speaking. Now we see ZANU-PF loudmouth Mr. Manize coming back with a scathing attack. Now this time Mr. Manize goes full on. What does he say? Does he reveal anything interesting?
So listen up to his interview. So in terms of in terms of direction, where do things go from?
We're going for he wants, this guy wanted to be anointed to be president, a successor of president. So you want to remove the president, but as I said, one more remover, anoint. How do you do that? You are squaring a circle. Yeah, Mugabe didn't nominate. I'll give you my number 2. Number 1, this time I would know. You know, we must go for elections. Well, that's normal for a democratic party. Now, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Half of the electorate are women in this country, more than half. And you have decapitated the lips of your former wife through cruelty. And you are
now we're seeing in this one here, Muchangwa is getting serious, ladies and gentlemen, even more deeper digs. Now for Chiwenga to do what he did, he must have a plan, ladies and gentlemen. And it's very sad and disturbing to know that in a political party in Zimbabwe, if you want to stand against corruption, atoma one wakutotanga kutodzingwa, is this what it is, ladies and gentlemen? Or maybe let us just put it this way. Anyways, let us continue. Big up to Martin Garrett.
Is there really
refusing to see your children, including Wakaway and Aikwawood? And you are number 1, akada kumuita pardon or amite honoramba utanza, you can't do that. So he reeks of cruelty against all women in the country. I mean, iwakamboda kuti amai vako kana vakaita kufambika nahuri wakamboda kuti munhu kana zvinonzizamura amai vako kumombe unozviziva. So he can't win, but he wants, so he doesn't want the elections. Saka president wavamita up end. Vataura kuti tiri kuenda kucongress. Can you go and sell yourself to the electorate, to the party electorate? You own a package yakadaro.
So we're hearing this. Mnangagwa announced Congress for successor. It means that there is no longer 2030. Or does it mean that, ladies and gentlemen, what does it mean? If Mnangagwa was supposed to leave a successor, he is supposed to leave the successor before his term ends, because successor wake kuti awine election, apinde election versus opposition, ari a new candidate anenge ari mawani, mobilizing vanhu vachona ZANU-PF, because the people who voted for ZANU-PF are the same people who gonna be voting for ZANU-PF, ladies and gentlemen.
Then remember, and I'm going to be candid with you. If you want to know the Shona person who are not going to watch Koro, we see the error paberi back.
And we see elo outer Chiwenga my elo liberation.
Because Ara comes from the mother, Ero comes from the teacher.
Yeah, that's
That's the basic, litmus test of an illiterate Shona person. So he never managed to graduate from the mother's alphabet. So kuti wakaenda kuhondo hazvisi no substitute. Takaenda university, takazodzokera futi tikaenda university. Kuenda kuhondo is no substitute for illiteracy and ignorance.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, when Chiwenga speaks, achiisa maara, to those who may not know, actually, he will be correcting things, making them what they are supposed to be. Because it's called the liberation struggle, not liberation, not liberation struggle. It's the liberation struggle. Liberation meaning putting things back in order. Remember, when we get a liberation, liberation is to be liberated, to be freed in a way of thinking, having a revolution. Liberation. Let me show you the definition of the word liberation on google.com. So when he puts those R, it's not necessarily spiritual language, but it's more like a spiritual insight. The word is not liberation, but it's a liberation, because what is liberated is the mind. Okay, liberation definition. Let me show you. Right, it's showing other words. Liberation. Right, this one. Liberation, to be liberated, to be freed from way of thinking or living to another better one. Liberation is a liberation of the mind. Liberate. That is the meaning. That is the word, not liberation. Liberation is libel, to be made free from prison. That is libel. So when he puts my L there, take note of the words.
Listen up to his interview.
For illiteracy and ignorance.
I'm not so sure, but what I'm very certain about.
Yeah,
So he's just saying, these are the things which, and you were commanding an army by contrivance, uri illiterate. Army vana vakaenda vachibva kuTegwani, vachibva kwaTsambe, vachibva kwaMukaro, vachibva kuSairini. These are the people who fought. Vodzoka voenda kuchikoro vapona hondo. Wopedzera wakuita commander wawe iwewe. How do you command such an erudite and educated army? You are illiterate. You think they can endear themselves to them? But akaenda kuDRC hauna vakamubroka hana kana kumboendeswa kuno command.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Oh.
He doesn't know anything about that war, I told you. Kambeu Aginyu ndiye akaendeswa Chimopo.
Oh.
A field commander of not and hapana zviri papo.
Yeah, it's
He's already pumped up it, I mean nothing else.
So this thing year 2030, it's going to happen.
He's dead because number one, he trapped them. People did not want this guy. Saka pavakanzwa kuti uyu anga ari kuda kuitwa anointed, vanhu vakati tingasvatagara naaripo pane uyu. So it was a resistance against him 2030. But now number one is outsmarted him by saying ina handisi kuenda ku2030 tiri kuenda kuCongress. Iwo vanhu vari kuti we must stick to the constitution. I agree. But the constitution inoipati inoti munoenda kuma-elections, no anointment.
Taurai Makufa says pachokwadi Chiwenga chibaba pedza ibasa. Yeah, even in ZANU-PF Congress you win. The favor with men that we're seeing happening with to VP Chiwenga, it's just normal. It's not normal, ladies and gentlemen. It's some divine favor we're seeing.
This is the crux of the matter. No anointment. And don't vote one.
Solution says a person who goes to school is seeking knowledge, but wisdom is natural. Musa Terere Sekurugudo.
And can if he goes for a vote, he probably, his left hand may not vote for him.
So and then
in 2017, the military, I tried to convince them they were completely neutral.
okay.
I mean, they did not want things to go either side, but they definitely did not want to be unconstitutional.
Okay.
What provoked them to come out of the barracks was the headlong Russia Bonyongwe Butinji assist the power. Then he wrote my dockets, he signed my dockets, but remember he moved from Director General Kwenda Kusiku kwa Minister of Justice.
Yes.
Then within 2 months he had signed my dockets Kusunga my general. That's what brought them, because they were it was theirs, it's a question of survival.
Okay.
Vakaudzwa usiku kuti madhoketi enyu asainwa the CIO and mapurisa are going to swoop on you, my general. We've been following these people for so long. Vangatirwise vaine mapistol nema-rifles. That's why the tanks came out. If Bonyongwe had not done that thing could probably have dragged out long.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He provoked the soldiers from coming out of, because he thought he could have a preemptive strike. Because he had been planning to have a preemptive strike. You see, he didn't fight Mozambique. He attended the war in Chimurenga, Tanzania.
All right.
All throughout. So he's a stranger to that war. Saka pavakauya vanga vakupromotwa namujuru against vakarwa kuMozambique.
Mujuru was not there.
So it was a showdown between my initial stages vakawinwa vaisapota namujuru ndosaka vakauraya nakunda. Nanagunda ndiswe kuhondo kuMozambique because kuMozambique you don't plan power in Mozambique because unobombwa mangwana wofa or you get into battle wofa. But in Tanzania kuna Chiwenga anabonyungwe they were at the training school na iye uyo na general wedu.
Aha. Okay.
Vanozoya kuhondo general vanozoya 78 a year before independence Mozambique. Anabonyungwe never came to Mozambique. Anarugeje he was formerly one Argu Libya. Vakaendeswa naMuzorewa. He never So this story, yekuti hanzi army inozoti I tell you, if it was not for that provocation by Bonyong, we probably would, the thing would have taken another 10. He was reckless, he was impatient to grab power because he wanted to become CIS, an intelligence officer who seizes power in a country.
Oh, okay.
Unomziyaga CIS Egypt. That's what he wanted to become Bonyongo. And you can see Mapainyora Mabuku Arugu Kennedy School of Government, Nana Roadbeck, Cheka Robert Roadbeck, Bonyongo. He was dead. They trained Anna Margaret Longo with the opposition. He trained that opposition in Bonyongo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he is the one who he moved against the generals, and then there was a showdown. It was an intra-agents showdown. He wanted to carry out a coup against the army under the cover of Mugabe is the legitimate leader. So he wanted to seize power himself. So he moved, then he made a wrong move. Then information leaked, and I was being covered.
Solution says a person who goes to school is seeking knowledge, but wisdom is natural. Musaderere sekurugudo. And ability of speaking correctly a foreign language doesn't prove your level of literacy. This guy, Mucha.
Somebody rang ningi SB moyo mukadzi wake kuti baba varipe zvikanzi vakarara zvikanzi in 2 hours vanenge vaiswa makechema vakuendeswa kutreason. So she woke up the husband then got we knew that's how they were plotting. Ndobva aridzira mageneral zvikanzi tochiita showdown ka. That's exactly what happened in 2017. There was no conspiracy by the army to plot to take power. So because they didn't understand what happened, but they were outwitted. See, now they are using my template as if it is theirs.
Mchango akapusha for 2017 bye.
Final thing besides the African, you can't do certain things in the sub-region unless you got clearance from South Africa, period. You understand? Yeah, remember that's why I had to go to Cape Town kunoona Zoom in 2017. Yeah, they are the sub-regional power. Changes in South Africa, you call for changes in Zimbabwe. South Africa isn't going to see. Mozambique, they intervened because it was news trying to destabilize the success. And South Africa sent the security to protect Trump. Yes, and they were ready to move. They were ready to move in with the army. You can't. This is South African neighborhood. It's a regional power. It's sub-regional power. You can't do things which they are not aware of. Rwanda, Korea, this is closer to home.
Now we're hearing the utterances there from Christopher Manize Muchangwa, roasting the Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, who is Zimbabwe's most popular Zimbabwean at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Jaisno is the general vari kupisa. Now Zimbabwe bleeds in fire and pain. Pain of betrayal that stains on the throne where power is a fight led by Chiwenga's fierce might that failed Mugabe cast down in 17 Harare town now in chaos where billions flee through the Zvigananda's spree of corruption worth 7 billion grand schemes of Mnangagwa's Zvigananda command that could bury Zim's hope for free from the plots for the 2030 decree. Decree of a dossier that shakes the core of a nation at war once more than just politics. Politics is blood and dread on the throne, Zimbabwe's throne of blood. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching TV7 Live. Dr. Clarence with the truth to ignite a revolution this morning. Yes, 20 tales from the last day's hit of Chiwenga's war on corruption beat the drum loud for this viral call to expose the empire's foe. Chiwenga, the generals rise from Coup to poisoned warrior. Now Zimbabwe's folk hero. What happens next in the nation of Zimbabwe, ladies and gentlemen? Rise from the ashes of weather soil where Chiwenga did toil as a young Dominic fierce in the fray of the bush war in Zanla's day of 78, where he is too tall as a commissar to answer the call to the coup of the tanks in the street where Mugabe would face a defeat through a coup d'etat, street where Mugabe faced defeat on 2017, pact sworn true to share power that never came due. Now, poisoning, sting. Remember, Chiwenga's poisoning. Ladies and gentlemen, Insiders whispered Chiwenga's rare pigment loss shared with then wife Mary was no accident. Colleagues tried to end him, but he survived. He would survive the poisoning. Why? To expose the rot. Ex-users pray Jehovah armor him against Zvigananda. Depth. Chiwenga's war scars run deep. Expelled from Staff College in the 80s for cheating. A bribe. Gone wrong. It humanizes him. Not a saint, but a survivor forged in Zimbabwe's brutal liberation fires. Story number 2. The 2017 badge gauge. Big up to Mukurua. Chiwenga was co-president post-coup, but reforms zero. No inclusive government. Just more ZANU-PF grip. Ex-threads roster. He promises change, delivers change. Yet in 2025, he is reborn. Rallying war vets. Reborn in the year 2025. Rallying war veterans. Rebuilding his general's network after the COVID-19 Purges. Analysts like Brighton Mutebuka say Chiwenga is no reformer. He's a tactician. But his silence on 2023's stolen vote, it haunts him. Now, the dossier drops 7 billion, ladies and gentlemen. 7 billion. Heist and Zvigananda empire. September 17, Harare State House briefing. Chiwenga unleashes hell. Explain the gluttons, the Zviganandas. He names them: Kudakwashe Tagwirei, Wikneo Chivayo, Scott Sakpwanya, Delish Nguaya. They are looting 3.5 billion every 6 months, 7 billion a year from Tagwirei alone. Story number 3. The bombshell exposé. Chiwenga's dossier. ZANU-PF owns 45% of Sakunda, a joint venture birthed in 2004 under Mnangagwa's treasury watch. Billions from fuel deals, command agriculture handouts, all funneled back as donations. Peanuts, Chivayo's 1 million car gift to provincial chairs. He steals 50 million first. Chiwenga rose. Sakunda origins. Tagwirei sold a house to start it. Or did ZANU-PF seed it via CBZ nominees? Insiders say Mnangagwa is the trustee. It's not a business. It's state capture 2.0. Story number 4. Face off. Mnangagwa defends Nguaya. Big up to Taurai Nyati watching us live right about now. Mnangagwa defends Nguaya. Chiwenga fires back. Chivayo, hold your phone. Our secrets in a thief's hand. ED would storm out and Chiwenga follows to HQ. Arrest them or you are complicit. Story 5. Politburo bends with Matuke's taunt of ambition that Chiwenga won't bow to Shava who begs for peace that Mpofu let's silently seize. Politburo Inferno. Matuke accuses presidency fever. Chiwenga snaps. You never fought. Just Keto deals with ED. Shava pleads. Take it private. Mpofu stays silent. Fatal mistake. Depth. This echoes Nari Rebellion. 1974 mutiny. Crushed brutality. Chiwenga warns. Infighting kills. Ex-bars, courageous patriotism versus cheap politics. Batemba Mleskwa calls BS, selective graft fight, holistic or bust. Muchangwa strikes, back, pages, threats, and the 2030 shadow. Then we see Zimbabwe President Emmerson Mnangagwa. He doesn't fold, he plays it dirty. Pages, threats, and the 2030 shadow. Strike comes swift from Mnangagwa's throne that he guards with a heart of stone against Chiwenga now stripped bare of his allies. Now, what is his next step, if any? Air thick with pages that Mpofu fell to Mudenda who rings Ed's bell for Sanyatwe cast from command that leaves Chiwenga unmanned. Muchangwa rose to shield the thieves called youth who weave dark weaves of ambition that Chris might chase for the throne. The throne is a treacherous race where he balances Tagwire's fate that blocks power at central gate. Reshuffle, a blade that cuts the core of Chiwenga's camp that's strong no more. Army lost to Ed's cunning play with Auxilia who holds the sway with Tagwire the beast they fear that isolates Chiwenga here. 2030 looms with Ed's grand scheme for more power to crush the dream that Chiwenga fights to save with his cries for a nation brave. Geza speaks for the general's cause against looters who break the laws.
So listen up to his interview.
Now the wife of the general, Minnie Savi, public ferry and opposition sidelines, swells the support from the streets. Loud call for Chiwenga who stands tall in the fight that the people ignite with their hope in the darkest night where he is loved as the bulwark true against ED whose failures grew in inflation that breaks the land that now rallies for Chiwenga's stand. Now, fame rises faster, like a wildfire spread on the X, where chants are led by the masses who cry past naye, the Zviganandas must pay. Minnie shines with a strategist's art that warned early to guard his heart of the general here king and guide through the storm where they stand side by side. Story number 13. Sengezo Chabangu flees from the ZANU-PF fray. He ignores for a future rise, but X scoffs at his secret ties to the ruling ZANU-PF party. Was he one of the guys who would enable the 2030? Now Mliswa speaks for a fighter that's fair, not selective, like Chiwenga's glare at the looters. He fights alone in the battle for Zimbabwe's throne. Now the stakes: assassination fears, 2028 bloodbath and public mood. Fears of a knife in the shadows grip that could strike at his skin in a sleep like Mujuru whose plane fell very fast. Fast like threats from a treacherous past that now warns of a bloody race to 2028, where fates embrace in Mutare, where Congress is looming. Now faction rebuilds with generals bold but still fragile as Mpofu's fold that damns ED, who loses the trust of the old guard now turned to dust. Primaries near with a trap in sight of Chiwenga's miss of the Dossier might that shook the thrones, but not kings who stand with their billions that shock the land. Pulse of a people both hopeful and torn between faith in a leader reborn or replay of ZANU-PF's old game where nation still bears the shame. The last Chimurenga. Is this going to be the last Chimurenga? Ladies and gentlemen, is this gonna be the last Chimurenga? What can happen differently in the nation of Zimbabwe that can make things turn the other way? Big up to Lakson. Says Famba Mkanya Musachikiswa Mahugan Company says Mnangagwa is a green cobra under green grass. He needs clean Matangi. Taurani Nyati. Big up says ED must go. We are tired of Zvigananda. Makuru, big up there. Nice to see you. Thank you for that positive comment there. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live right now. Those watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat. That's how I can get to see your names, so I can give you my shout outs. Now we see light on the throne where blood runs red with ambition that leaves us dead unless we rise with a voice to cry. Do we cry for Chiwenga or freedom's try in Mutare where fates collide in arrest or a coup, dark tide of the people who choose their way to break chains for a brighter day that we fight with a like and a share this expose to show we care for Zimbabwe, our final stand for truth in our bleeding land of Chimurenga that calls us near to the battle for freedom's cheer. Now, before I sign out, there is something that needs addressing in the nation of Zimbabwe, fellow Zimbabweans. Our police in the roads we see this.
Aiwa, itai zvenu zvamuri kuda. Pwanyai zvenyu office. Pwanyai zvenyu interest yenyu de kupwanya, pwanyai zvenyu. Aiwa, pwanyai zvenyu. Pwanyai mati moda kupwanya. Aiwa, pwanyai. Aiwa, itai zvenu zvamuri kuda. Pwanyai zvenyu office. Pwanyai zvenyu interest yenyu de kupwanya, pwanyai zvenyu. Aiwa, pwanyai zvenyu. Pwanyai mati moda kupwanya. Aiwa, pwanyai motikari. Pwanyai. Zvinani mupwanya, pwanyai zvenyu kana muchida kupwanya. At least
Now, in an ideal world, the police serve as a thin blue line between chaos and order, a shield for the vulnerable, an enforcer of justice, and a symbol of state accountability. But in Zimbabwe, however, the Zimbabwe Republic Police has increasingly morphed into something far more sinister, a network of extortionists and intimidators who prey on the very citizens that they swore to protect. Once positioned as protectors under the Constitution's mandate to maintain peace and security, Section 219, today's officers often prioritize bribable tasks, routine stops, inspections, and arrests that function as revenue streams over genuine public service. This shift hasn't just undermined trust, it has turned everyday interactions with law enforcement into a gauntlet of fear and financial predation. The evidence is stark and multifaceted. Reports from human rights organizations paint a grim picture of a systematic abuse. In 2024 alone, Zimbabwean authorities, including police, weaponized the justice system against critics with arbitrary arrests and detentions used as tools of intimidation. Human Rights Watch documented ongoing repression, including harassment of opposition figures and civil society, where police impunity for violence remains the norm. The U.S. State Department's 2022 Human Rights Report, with passing persistent into 2025, highlighted arbitrary arrests targeting activists, journalists, and ordinary citizens, asserting their rights often without access to lawyers. Petty corruption, as defined by Transparency International Zimbabwe, thrives at the street level. Low to mid-level officials like traffic cops and ministerial police demand bribes for everyday abuses such as ignoring traffic violations or releasing detainees. A 2024 Transparency International Corruption Perception Index ranked Zimbabwe 158 out of 180 countries, scoring a dismal 21 over 100, reflecting public sector riddled with graft. This isn't abstract policy failure. It's lived nightmare for Zimbabweans. Social media overflows with first-hand accounts of police turning roads and markets into their personal extortion zones. In Bulawayo, drivers decry supercharged fund-raising drives where hidden SADC stop signs tagged under trees without road markings net $30 fines per violation. A clear setup for shakedowns. One motorist lamented, "Having a car in Zimbabwe is now a crime, with officers confiscating licenses if bribes are not forthcoming, leaving families emotionally and financially drained." In Harare CBD, vendors face ritualistic arrest followed by release fees, as captured in a widely shared video of an officer pocketing cash to free detainees. Even in rural areas like Mutoko, small-scale miners report police harassment tied to mining claims, where bribes buy protection from arbitrary shutdowns. And it's not just locals. A French tourist's satirical praise for traffic cops, concern and love, shaking hands with conductors while checking documents at dawn, was swiftly debunked by Zimbabweans, calling them a nuisance with drum roadblock designed for harassment. The bribery ecosystem is brazenly operational. Officers hit daily targets of $5,000 in one Bulawayo case, forces them to squeeze motorists, vendors, and tax shop, sometimes collecting $3 per street seller in ghettos. Bogus officers mount fake roadblocks, as Sage noted by ZRP itself in August 2025, preying on the chaos. When caught, the fallout exposes deeper rot. Two Sakuva officers were fined $500 each in June 2025 for assaulting anti-corruption investigators during a roadblock bribe probe, injuring one in the process. Another constable in Zengeza faced charges for extorting $40 to release a suspect, while in Chisumbanje, suspect offered 3,000 rands to free a stock thief. These aren't isolated. They are symptoms of a force where corruption drains billions through illicit flows, particularly in mining and borders. Now, why the bully mentality? Of course, economic desperation plays a role. Underpaid officers resort to hustling, but this cruelty. And then amplified by political patronage. ZRP alignment with ZANU-PF enabled selective enforcement targeting opposition. Now we see something does do happen in the nation of Malawi. I think this should be suggested for Zimbabwe. Kuti mafines asabhadharwe in cash.
So where are you going?
Yeah, I can only give one at a time.
Can you stop there? My friend, come. This vehicle
Yes.
is the left-hand drive vehicle.
Yes, sir. So you're going to try and get money for it?
But you did show it here. It must be shown here. RHG. I'm an agent from the Ministry of Transport.
Yes.
And the left-hand drive must be shown with LICLN. Big up to my organic company. Laxon, Life Chiwa, Clear Matangi, Taurai Nyati Makurua, Solution, Taurai Mukufa Mugove Chipuruse.
You are Ministry of Transport?
Yes.
Okay, I know about Ministry of Transport.
I'm an agent.
Yeah.
I'm a traffic police officer.
Yeah, you're very famous, you guys.
I'm famous.
You guys are very famous,
Famous
yes.
of what? So
when you saw that I was white, you came across the road and just stopped only my car, right?
there.
Just tell me what you want, officer.
I want you to pay the fine.
I know you do. I want receipt, ticket, bill, everything. So give me one to pay at the bank.
No,
Yeah.
here we don't pay. We don't pay at the
Yes, we do.
We pay all the sport fine.
No, we don't.
I'm telling you, my friend.
I'm telling you, officer, on the spot fine means cash in the side of the road, and it's illegal.
Here.
No, it's not. It's illegal to take money in the side of the road. Ticket,
Money and they give you a
ticket with bank account number, please.
No, we don't have a bank account number in Malawi.
Yes, you, the government do.
Eh?
Not you, but the government does.
Not yet.
Situation is just get as comfortable as you can. Like this. Get the tent out and set up. And the more comfy you get, the more he wants you to go. This hammers them, this.
Hey, see here, my friend.
Yes. Camping, sir.
Camping.
Yes. Free camping. Free camping.
Oh, camp there. Not where there. You are there for there.
Yeah.
Not here.
Not the attention here. He doesn't like the attention. Oh. See how much it's making them laugh.
Yeah, it's ndozvinotodiwa izvi. Alright guys, big up to everybody who was watching us live. Live Chiwa Lakson. Everybody who was watching us live. Thank you guys for watching TV7 Live. With that, I'm gonna sign out.